Following the death of former Brownlow medalist and Melbourne legend Jim Stynes, Brisbane's Daniel Rich said the Lions didn't want to get caught up in the emotion of the game. Brisbane had won just once in 25 previous matches when influential forward Jonathan Brown was missing. The off-season focus at the Lions centred on building endurance after Brisbane coughed up a number of fourth-quarter leads last year. A minor contributor last year, Tom Rockliff potted Brisbane's first major.
12 goals last year, Tom Rockliff, and he's kicked a few in the pre-season as well.
James Magner's first goal for the Demons was eventful.
What a thrill to kick Melbourne's first goal!
Here, just into Simon Black, that's the free kick there.
Spare us.
Here, please, can we not start giving goals away for that?
Magner's first kick in AFL football was a goal. Who would have thought 30 seconds later his second would also be a goal?
Melbourne led by 2 goals at the first change and worked hard to protect the lead.
Almost got ball in the boot, and again Jared Rivers with the heroics in the last line.
Within a minute, Matthew Leuenberger got the upper hand over Jared Rivers.
And big Leuenberger in the perfect position.
James Polkinghorne got the ball to sit up, but he could hear a Demon's footsteps.
He should be able to goal here. Garland hunted him down like a desperate man, but he kicked it anyway.
On the back of a 50-metre free kick, Jeremy Howe put Melbourne in front before Brisbane answered through Jed Adcock and Rockliff.
And he needs to kick goals like that as a leader, and he does.
The umpires had extra work to do, trying to put out spot fires.
I'll pay a free, I'm happy to.
I'll pay a free maybe too.
I'm happy to.
The D's soon lit up by Jack Watts.
Jack Watts, had the luxury of a bounce and just strolled into goal. That'll get the Melbourne faithful on their feet.
From inside the square, Irish import Pierce Hanley let one ride.
But gee, that's a great strike. He's done that easily.
The lead continued to seesaw, and the Melbourne captain played his role.
Kick from Trengo, gets the result.
Restored to the forward line, Daniel Merritt found the big sticks for the first time since the 09 season.
And he hasn't forgotten the art of kicking goals.
At half-time, Brisbane 7-8-50, Melbourne 7-4-46. The Lions got the jump on their rivals with Rockliff booting his third major and Leuenberger using his height to advantage.
And maybe wished he did because that's a goal. Polkinghorne.
Ashley McGrath came out of defence to impose himself, and he made it a 4-goal game.
He'll find the space, despite the efforts of Magner. He should be able to goal, and the Brisbane Lions lead by 4, and they're hot.
Brisbane continued to make inroads in a lopsided term.
And Banfield can stroll in, and now they're on the brink.
Irish deception by Hanley proved to be a revelation.
This is a wonderful move from Hanley. The Irishman deserves a goal. Is a goal. Celebrations for the Lions.
He went inside Watts, then he shaped and dummied around Joel McDonald, then got the little left to right bend back. That's another spectacular goal.
By hook or by crook, Brad Green and Aaron Davey combined to snap the Lions' 7-goal surge.
Davey, they both made a meal of it, but they get a goal by accident.
Brisbane turned for home with a 6-goal lead, and just over a minute into the quarter, Melbourne's task got tougher.
Banfield, a dagger through the heart.
Leuenberger's no-look release got the Lions tearing through, and Merritt's third brought up triple figures.
This would put it beyond all doubt. What a great performance by the Lions.
Melbourne fans had enough with almost a quarter of an hour to play. Brisbane then inflicted more pain.
Sheldon will take it.
That's horrendous defending.
And as miserable a day as it's been for Melbourne, it's just been a glorious one for the Brisbane Lions.
Full-time, Brisbane 17-17, 119. Melbourne 11-12, 78.
We really set ourselves to come down and perform well. We haven't taken a lot of emotion in the game today, particularly obviously for the Melbourne boys, and we knew we had to stick to our task and be firm on that, and we did it really well.
Charles Christian, Big Pond Sport.
Welcome back. This is my wrap-up for round 4, game 1, Melbourne versus Brisbane. The final scores, Melbourne 11-12, 78 to Brisbane 17-17, 119. My votes for this game was 3 votes to Tom Rockcliffe, who kicked 3 goals 5, 2 votes to Simon Black, who had 32 disposals, and 1 vote to Jed Adcock. The highlight of this game was the midfield of Brisbane, who dominated this game from start to end, with Clay Beams nominated for the NAB Rising Star, who kept Maloney to 12 disposals. It was a day dedicated to Jimmy Steins, as before the game was a minute applausal, which was great for this game. The next game for Melbourne and Brisbane for round 2 is Brisbane play Carlton on the Thursday night, whereas Melbourne have to go to Perth to play West Coast Eagles. This is my wrap up for round 1 game 4, Melbourne and Brisbane. I'll see you next time.
It's hard to imagine the Demons having a worse start to the year. The trip away from Melbourne's microscope to Patterson Stadium, their chance at redemption. They faced an Eagles side who beat the Dogs on the road in round 1, looking to build on last year's fairy tale. The Demons handing West Coast their first after this ugly effort from Green.
He's good for a goal again, Luke Shuey. And that's going to hold its line, and that's the first goal of the afternoon here at Patterson Stadium.
Melbourne would open their account through Dunn before Frawley forgot to bounce.
And then beats 3 Eagles, shrugs the tackles and runs too far.
Darling making them pay from close range. Under pressure, the Demons would flood the goal square, but the Eagles found a way to combat that.
Waters from 60 metres out says, I'll just kick a goal. Don't worry about all this messing around.
The Eagles would lose Andrew Embley with what looked like a dislocated shoulder before really asserting their dominance.
Scott Selwood again. What a quarter he's having. A bounce. Inside 50. On the boundary. Scott Selwood. He's having an afternoon he may not ever forget. What a brilliant goal.
West Coast up by 20 at quarter time. Melbourne first out of the blocks after the break.
Can have a shot from just inside 50. Goals hard to come by for the Demons, but not for Nathan Jones. The first goal of the second quarter to Melbourne.
The Demons going coast to coast, but the Eagles would respond. They'd dominate contested possessions and the goals would come, squeezing the D's out of the contest.
Again it's the pressure, again they force the turnover, and again they kick the goal. This time it's Hams.
Melbourne were at risk of being buried under an avalanche of goals until Clark unleashed this bomb.
Around the corner again, he already got one like this. It needs to come back. It's hooking, it's hooking. That's 2 to Clark, and didn't Melbourne need that?
The Demons would add this one to the highlight reel.
Jeremy Howe loves a big grab.
But it was all West Coast, taking a 48-point lead into half-time.
Eagles lead by 7 goals. Hams makes it 8, and they are dominating here at Patterson Stadium.
And the onslaught would continue after the break. Hams celebrating becoming an uncle overnight before Kennedy got his first.
The margin now over 10 goals for the Eagles.
It was turning into a massacre.
Top, it's not pretty. That's not pretty. It's still messy from Kennedy. And Josh, they may still get a goal.
Jeez, well done.
Can you believe it?
Nathan Jones would apply a band-aid with their first of the third term, but it did little to stop the bleeding.
Here's Darling again. He'll play on. It's another goal coming up for the West Coast Eagles. Jack Darling kicks his 4th, and doesn't he love it?
Melbourne would trail the Eagles by a massive 90 points at three-quarter time. Grim faces in the Demons huddle before being sent over the wall again.
Now Gaff, clear. In space. Left foot.
Too easy.
Goal. The 100-point margin has been breached.
There would be just one positive to take out of Melbourne's trip to Perth. Mitch Clark.
Needs it to come back. It's not bad. That's beautiful. Now Clark wants it short. 1-on-1. Can Clark do it again? Can he kick number 5? Oh, what an afternoon for Mitch Clark.
But the goals would just keep coming.
crumbing Scott Selwood. He's got his third. That's a personal best for Scott Selwood.
Melbourne's darkest day in the West, a 108-point humiliation. David Murdoch, Big Pond Sport.
With both Richmond and Melbourne sitting on big fat duck eggs, their round 3 meeting at the MCG offered one of these struggling clubs a golden opportunity to kickstart their stuttering campaigns. After the Demons' horrendous month, they were eager to get this one going on the right foot, and did so through Mitch Clark.
And he opens with a major. Melbourne with the first goal of the game.
Richmond's response was swift and strong as they went back-to-back through Tyrone Vickery, then Robin Nahas.
Tigers have got a couple and they lead by 7.
The Tigers were roaring as they've done so rarely in recent times, although Daniel Jackson didn't feel anything but anguish after almost ending up in row 1.
He's in a bit of bother here, there's no question about that.
It didn't prevent the favourites from stretching their advantage though.
And that'll get some momentum going the Tigers' way.
Jeremy Howe pulled one back for the D's on the doorstep of quarter time.
Opens up the angle and snatched truly, kicks a goal.
And they went on with it after the break by booting 3 straight. Mitch Clark's second major put them back in front for the first time since his game opener.
A flawless execution and the Demons are in front at the MCG.
James Frawley lost his footing, then lost his man, and Melbourne lost their lead.
He kicks the goal for the Tigers.
Brad Miller marked his 150th match by again goaling against his former side.
Looks pretty good. Goal umpire likes it, crowd like it.
So Richmond retreated to the rooms with an 8-point edge and extended it in classy fashion early in the new term.
Tigers with a dream start to the second half.
The Tigers clearly decided that it was time to step on the gas.
Good gather, good finish, good goal to the Tigers.
Sean Grigg goaled with a level of confidence that was becoming infectious before Dustin Martin dashed through from the centre square.
The ball goes bang!
The D's were under siege in more ways than one, and it was inevitable that defence like that would lead to more points. In fact, it was becoming an avalanche.
And he gets another for the Tigers, his second.
It was a memorable quarter for the boys from Punt Road, in which they outscored their hapless opponents by 57-6.
And it continues, and it just keeps getting better for the Tigers.
It didn't get much better for Melbourne after the last break.
And we are out to 11 goals at the MCG.
And their pain wasn't confined to the scoreboard either, as Jack Grimes copped the harshest of landings.
He won't play any further part today, but just goes from bad to worse.
While the young Demon won't remember much about this game, and that's probably just as well, Miller was having an afternoon he won't forget.
The wife there to support him. The Tigers love it.
The hungry Tigers had no intention of shutting up shop, even if they sometimes had to go the long way to goal.
Now it's a goal.
A rampant Richmond were just way too good for the despairing Demons by 59 points. 2013 133 to 11-8 74. An emphatic way to open their account for 2012. David Rowlands, Big Pond Sport.
A solemn day for so many people at the Jim Stynes tribute match, remembering the Irish immigrant who won the Brownlow medal, set a Melbourne record for games played, lifted the Demons from their financial doldrums through his presidency, and reached out to the needy and underprivileged through his charity work.
I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Former Melbourne players, some of them Stynes' teammates, formed a guard of honour for the occasion. Both clubs arrived winless this season, with Western Bulldogs having the wood over the Demons, with victories in the last 5 clashes since the 07 season. Ryan Griffin sent the Bulldogs on their way.
Out it comes. Griffin lines up the goals and squeezes it through. Good goal.
Bulldogs couldn't find one last week. We've got one nice and early here.
Barely a handful of minutes into the match, rain forced positional changes in the stands around the MCG. On the field, Mitch Clark worked his way to front and centre.
Clark's the target, he's up and got it.
This is the man you would be trying to kick the footy to at every opportunity.
9 goals this season, Melbourne's new kingpin delivered.
First goal for the Demons on the Jim Stynes tribute day, and the number 11 kicks it.
Jared Grant landed his 2nd goal of the year, and as the rainbow spread across the sky, Jeremy Howe reached high enough to separate the colours.
Oh! Huge grab by Howe, we know he can jump, and Howe.
Luke Dalhouse gave Western Bulldogs the edge at quarter time.
Good looking kick. Wow, could be his day.
Aaron Davey pulled Melbourne to within a kick soon after the resumption.
Here's Davey on cue for you, Roo, and delivers.
Tom McDonald went too high on Adam Cooney, and the Bulldog star knocked over the free kick before he had to leave the field for attention.
A little bit of claret coming out of the nose there, so he certainly wore it.
Good roving by Justin Sherman extended the margin to more than 2 goals before the Brownlow medalist returned with improvised plumbing work to make it 40-20.
Slightly against the run of play in the last 10 minutes, and that hurts, and that is a dagger to the heart.
At half-time, Western Bulldogs 6-5-41, Melbourne 3-8-26. Fans barely had enough time to settle into their seats when the Bulldogs were off and running.
There's a chance now for the young man there in Jones, and he gets it on the board inside 25 seconds. That's the perfect start for the Bulldogs, and the Demons are left lamenting.
Matthew Bate took a fine mark to set up his 2nd goal before Rowan Bale raised the Demons' hopes.
5 goals through in his career, 22nd game tonight. Needs just won the Demons, and he delivers it. 2 in a row, the first time in the match that the Demons have put back-to-back goals, and suddenly we've got a game on our hands.
Jack Watts made it 3 straight goals to lift Melbourne to within 2 points before Western Bulldogs had an answer.
Dalhouse, you can see the big sticks from 50. Bumped on the kick, it'll be downfield, it'll be advantage. Gian Siracusa kicks a goal against the flow.
Clark walked off to check an arm injury before the Demons showed more fight.
Seller, he owes them one, gives to Maloney. Inspirational. It's a 1-point game.
Western Bulldogs kicked the next 2 to get some breathing space heading towards 3-quarter time, while Clark went for the spectacular.
Need to get a mark here, the Demons. He's nearly killed himself there.
And his own man.
And he's knocked himself out, Mitch Clark. He's in all sorts of trouble here.
He landed on his head.
The trainer's out.
Yep.
Let's hold up play here with 40 seconds on the clock.
Relief for all to see when Clark walked off for another check. Neck soreness ended his night. Colin Garland joined the injury ward on the bench as Western Bulldogs turned for home, aiming to build on a 15-point lead.
This could be the killer. It's a beautiful kick from the big man, and he's put it through.
Daniel Giansiracusa booted the Bulldogs almost 5 goals clear before Davey danced around to deliver the Demons a boundary beauty.
Tucked into the pocket, sizes them up from there. Oh, boy, did he stand up! This one's not cooked yet.
How about Howe going high and mighty? While first gamer Mitch Wallace won't forget his first major less than 4 minutes from the end.
Because it'll deliver the Bulldogs' first victory in season 2012.
Brendan McCartney's first victory as an AFL coach. Full-time Western Bulldogs 13-10-88, Melbourne 9-13-67. Charles Christian, Big Pond Sport. Melbourne brought back Colin Sylvia and Jack Grimes, while Clint Bartram lined up for his 100th game as the Demons searched for their first win of the season. St Kilda had Jason Graham in for his first appearance this year, replacing the suspended Justin Koschitzky. Brent Maloney landed the opening goal in the Demons' 4th trip inside 50.
Closing at the city end, a lovely hoisted kick from Maloney.
Matthew Bate booted through Melbourne's 2nd before former West Coaster Beau Wilkes replied for the Saints.
Wilkes comes in from 35 metres out, good looking ball, he's enjoying that.
James Magner came off in need of attention, and after Jack Stephen put St Kilda's nose in front, Wilkes set up for another.
There's a very good look at it, magnificent kick from Wilkes. 3 in a row for the Saints.
Saints had the numbers for a mark, while Nathan Jones beat the rush and got his reward.
From the boundary, has a bit of a look at it. That's magnificent. He salutes the crowd.
Nick Riewoldt steered through his 10th goal of the season before the Demons had Jones on the boil.
Jones, fortunate again, front and centre, doing it all at the moment, Jones.
Melbourne put the squeeze up front and Jack Watts got the bonus.
By Jack Watts along the ground.
Stephen Milne opened his account with career goal number 499. Rowan Bale kept the D's within a kick.
Quick snap out of the pack, good looking ball. The Demons on an absolute roll here.
Milne couldn't have got much closer to his 500th, while Aaron Davey got a friendly bounce to give Melbourne the lead.
Davies' roll towards goal is magnificent. The Demons on fire.
Lee Montagna had 2 strikes to answer for St Kilda before a big moment for the Saints' small forward.
Milne lets it rip. Player number 50, Stevie Milne celebrates in a big way. 500 goals. What a magical moment for the little man Milne.
At half-time, St Kilda 8-5-53, Melbourne 8-3-51. Magna was in the wars again straight after the break, crunched by his teammate, while Stevens set sail for his second.
Gets an opportunity to get around the tackler, Salah, and Jack Stevens kicks a wonderful goal.
Wilkes backed himself from beyond the arc to drive in his 3rd major, then took a screamer of a mark before he got the surprise of his life a minute later.
Look at this, he turns around, he's confronted with that, and he goes, "You have got to be kidding." Gee, that is the most unusual decision with a guy that's on fire. He's kicked 3.
In his milestone match, Bartram's first goal of the year and just his 17th career major was an eye-opener.
Bursting through, right foot banana, unbelievable goal! Unbelievable goal! Boy, oh boy, oh boy!
Bartram bridged the gap to just 3 points at the final change. Inside the last 8 minutes, experienced hands came to St Kilda's aid to forge ahead.
Beautiful round 1 or round 2. Lenny Hayes, you star! Lenny Hayes, when no one else could.
When Riewoldt collected a mark in the last couple of minutes, the Demons' hopes were dashed.
Only 15 metres out, Riewoldt comes in and hammers it, and you've got to think that's just about it. An 18-point St Kilda lead.
Full-time, St Kilda 12-12-84, Melbourne 10-6-66.
First half, we weren't happy with that. Got a fair spray at half-time, we deserved it, and turned around after the second half.
Charles Christian, Big Pond Sport.
Carlton needed to make a big statement after 2 disappointing losses, and that was bad news for a hapless Melbourne side still winless this season. But the D's dominated possession early and finally got the first score on the board through Jeremy Howe.
Warnock up very, very high. Rove and snap.
The Blues were taking time to find their feet while Sam Blease was walking a tightrope for Melbourne.
Here's Blease, good pressure again from Melbourne. Blease's kick is a beauty, an absolute beauty.
Melbourne were taking it right up to the Blues and Mitch Robinson.
Oh, gee, Robinson, he won't be happy.
Plenty of feeling between the sides, perhaps a few bruises, as Sean Hampson got his side on the board.
Hampson kicks the goal.
Melbourne were heading for a rare victory, winning a quarter of football.
Green is hurt on the ground. Clark is snapping at goal. McKenzie gave him the hand pass. It's through.
Nervous times for Carlton's coach, Brett Ratton, and the Demons were also making late mistakes, allowing Robinson to pounce.
Very, very dangerous kick. Cut off by Robinson, and he'll enjoy that.
A 50-metre penalty then gifted Eddie Betts a shot on the siren, and he didn't miss. The Blues down by a point at quarter time. But that quickly changed after the break.
Robinson, he's been good, crashes through the back and kicks a goal.
Melbourne suffered another blow with confirmation that Brad Green was on his way to hospital after copping a heavy knock. Carlton was starting to pull away. Island Zach Tui all class.
This one is working back nicely. It's a goal.
Familiar signs for the Demons, but they dug in, held firm, and Clark clawed one back. At half-time, Carlton led by just 13 points, and after a tight opening to the third, Walker extended the margin.
Maloney spills to Walker. Walker struggles free, kicks a goal.
But in a low-scoring quarter, Melbourne hung in the contest.
And Melbourne get the goal that was critical to this match.
The Blues couldn't put the underdogs away.
Hampson to Cruiser to Garlett, and Garlett misses, hits the post.
At the final break, the game was still up for grabs, Carlton ahead by 16 points. Chris Judd wasn't about to hand Melbourne their first win, and he helped inspire the opening goal.
Comes out from McLean to Cruiser, and Cruiser snaps a goal.
The match slipping away as Betts broke loose from Garland.
Garland fly, Betts roving, and then he can see a goal coming up. He's kicked 3, the little fella.
Bad news, though, for ex-Tiger Andrew Collins, who was helped off after injuring his knee. Carlton were cruising to their 6th win.
Robinson's in a lovely spot, uses it well, and rolls it home.
More pain for the D's, fatigue as the mistakes returned, and frustration for coach Mark Neeld after a positive start to the game. The Blues reeling off 7 goals to zip in the last term, running away with a 58-point victory, 15-7, 107 to 6-13, 49. Brett Clancy, Big Pond Sport.
Flying high at the top of the ladder, the Bombers were looking for their 5th win in succession and 9th of 2012 against a Demons side whose banner seemed to sum up their season. Torn to pieces by all opposition, Melbourne had lost their last 9 by an average of 10 goals, and they'd be immediately under pressure at the G.
Opportunity here now for Jobe watching the skipper around the body to the punt road end, and the Bombers get the first.
Constant rain would prove a leveller though, and the Demons would more than hold their own early.
Howe, he goes from the boundary line with a simply magnificent kick, and he enjoys the moment.
They trail by just 3 at quarter time and test the Bomber brains trust, the pressure turning on Essendon in the second term.
Morton having a bit of a look from 35 out, almost directly in front. He's got every bit of it, and guess what?
The Demons in front, and Bomber tempers began to flare, while Melbourne let the footy do the talking.
Maloney gathers the ball, just intelligently puts it at the square, knowing it'll spin off the ground, and it does exactly that. The Demons with 3 goals in a row.
Melbourne on top, and soon taking charge.
What about this? The one-handed pick-up from Jones, the right foot banana. Remarkable goal from Jones, great pressure.
Essendon would soak up that pressure and end a run of 4 straight Melbourne majors.
Right, it's got it going towards goal. Soccer off the ground here from Davey is on the go. The Bombers get their first goal of the second quarter.
The Bombers would trail by 6 at half-time, and whatever James Hird had to say at the break seemed to sink in.
A much more urgent Bomber outfit in this second half. Dyson along the ground. Melksham. fumble. Little kick around the corner. He's got it working nicely, though.
A new intensity from Essendon and the goals followed.
Off hands. Bombers get another one. Hocking.
James Hird out of the coach's box to call the shots, and the players seem to respond.
Collier with a left foot snap. Gets it right for the Bombers. 3 in a row in the third quarter.
Mitch Clark would draw a free on the lead, and he'd keep the Demons within striking distance.
A big kick for the Demons. They need it, and they have got it.
The Bombers up by 8 points into the final term, but the Demons would immediately respond.
Well, how did he get that? Sylvia around the corner over the shoulder. Magnificent, Colin Sylvia.
The Demons denied a goal after the umpires chose not to go upstairs, but there'd be no doubting their necks through Garland.
30 metres out, directly in front. Look at this. Melbourne are in front.
Garland's first goal of the year, and he's got a taste for them.
They go into the goal square. Marked by Garland. Goal. They lead it by 11.
Essendon looked out on their feet, but up bobbed their inspirational skipper.
Crammer into Watson. Watson with a little poker. He's got it. The Bombers are back.
Mark Neal would ride the boundary line as his Demons held off a fast-finishing Bombers in the upset of the season.
Unbelievable scenes. Kneeled, players, fans, going absolutely chaotic here.
The Demons' first win of the season, a goal the difference in the end. David Murdoch, Big Pond Sport.
At the end of a turbulent week, Richmond would have been relieved to get back to the business of playing footy and putting their discipline problems behind them. The best way of moving on from their dramas was to post a big win against a struggling Melbourne outfit. And after a scratchy start, the reliable Jack Riewoldt got things going for them.
Opens up the angle. He made it tougher than it was. Yep. But he kicks Richmond's opener.
Shane Edwards was sure with his hands.
Edwards! Beautiful mark!
However, his right foot wasn't as cooperative.
Yeah, well done.
His teammate may have been shaky from a set shot, but Brett Deledio was brilliant on the run.
Now they're running the Tigers. Now Deledio is silky and kicks the goal.
The Demons eventually made an impression on the board with
a must-win clash for a Fremantle side locked in a battle with four teams hoping to stay in the race for a finals berth. But they faced a Demons side who'd made 6 changes for the match, desperate to finish the season strongly.
Martin, quick kick at goal. Can they get the first of the afternoon? It's a bounce, the bounce.
The D's off to the perfect start, and it would only get better with goals to Bennell and Brad Green.
Second attempt, he might have marked that. He swings it around on the left foot. Doesn't matter about the mark. He's kicked Melbourne's 3rd goal.
The visitors would weather the early storm and respond with 3 of their own.
Fremantle have got it back on level terms.
But Melbourne would again find their feet, posting 3 straight goals again through Blees, Martin and Sylvia.
Measures the kick, wonderful accuracy. Melbourne lead by 3 goals.
The D's would lose Jamar to his troublesome calf at quarter time, Stephen Martin taking over the ruck duties. Matthew Pavlich would cop a bit of ruck work from McDonald, taking offence before picking himself up and delivering a bomb.
He thumps it long, kept couple of Bradley marks right on the line.
Bradley would make no mistake as the Dockers continued the surge.
Picked up, crumbed, snapped. Ballantyne, yes sir.
But the D's would snap the trend of 3-goal runs with majors to Rowan Bale and former skipper Brad Green.
And he delivers a former captain's goal.
The Dockers would look to their current skipper to respond.
His team need this one and the skipper obliges.
Fremantle trailing by 13 points despite dominating the second quarter inside 50, 16-5. Pearce wouldn't need to cross the stripe.
Long ball, how accurate is it? Bounces and bounces through.
Already without Jamar, the D's would lose Bennell as well as the Dockers clocked on.
And Walters, he can run into the open goal and he gets another.
The Dockers would begin to take advantage of their inside 50 dominance, finding Pavlich and snatching the lead.
One becomes two for Pav and the Dockers are in front.
But the D's would steal it straight back with goals to Rowan Bale and then Brad Green.
Melbourne fans would love a third and that's what he delivers.
Ravaged by injury and against the odds, Melbourne would open up a 20-point lead.
Gets inside 50 from close to the boundary. How's the finish? Yes, please, again.
Walters would end a run of 4 straight Demons goals before their skipper trimmed the margin back to just 8 points.
And Pav, he delivers for the Dockers.
And it was the Dockers first to fire in the fourth quarter through Barlow.
It bounces, goal inside the first minute of the final term.
Chris Mayne would put Fremantle's noses back in front before providing assists for the Dockers' next 2.
That is wonderful from Chris Mayne and an easy goal to Michael Barlow.
A brave Melbourne overrun in the final term. Pavlich would get a 4th as the Dockers ran away with it.
Pearce off the ground and Pearce goals.
So Fremantle staying in touch with the top 8 with a 34-point win over Melbourne. David Murdoch, Big Pond Sport. The Demons may have lost 10 of their last 12 matches, but they've enjoyed their trips to Darwin, winning their last 2 against a Port Adelaide side, a spot ahead of them on the ladder in 15th, but on a run of 5 straight losses. Both playing for pride, it was the D's drawing first blood.
Gets it to come back right to left. What a super kick from Brad Green.
Paul Stewart would crumb the powers first before Brad Green once again found space in the D's forward 50.
Wants it to hook back. It does. It's perfect.
Green with a double, and Stewart wasn't far behind.
He's a goal machine now, Stewart. 2 for Green, 2 for Stewart. Everybody else would just go home.
Jared Rivers would snap the trend before Melbourne skipped clear through Martin.
He just pings it through. Welcome to the game, Stefan.
A big collision would see Pettit help from the field with suspected rib damage before Melbourne opened up a break.
Sylvia runs onto it, runs to 25 metres out, and all of a sudden the margin is 14.
But the power would hit back in the second term with goals to Daniel Stewart and Travis Boak.
To get Port Adelaide back within 1 point. He doesn't miss too many. He's a class act.
A series of minors would lift Port to the lead before Brett Ebert carried them further ahead.
11 goals for the season. He wobbles that through for 12, but importantly now they're out to a 9-point break.
Port Adelaide maintaining the margin to half-time and extending it soon after.
Bouncing the right way for Broadbent, gets onto it, runs onto it and kicks a goal.
Rivers would find some space in the pocket for the D's. The angle would prove no problem.
He's got it. Oh boy. He got that to curl and curl it did.
Paul Stewart would stretch Port Adelaide's lead to 13 before Jeremy Howe continued his aerial show.
Jeremy Howe with another screamer. We said he'd get one at half-time and he did. Have a look at this. Oh, boy.
It would give the D's the desired lift.
Pleased with pace. Hit the post before. Good ball. How's that one? That's a beauty.
But just when Melbourne had snatched the momentum, a defensive mix-up would deliver the Sherrin straight to Paul Stewart.
Geez, a good kick. And he's a pressure kick.
It would stretch their lead to 11 at three-quarter time with Aaron Young boosting it in the final term.
That is a goal that should never happen, but it's a brilliant piece of work from Port Adelaide.
And moments later, they'd be out to their biggest lead of the night.
For Matthew Lobe to put Port Adelaide in front by 23 points.
It would only get worse for the D's.
Stewart has been kicking well. and he continues to kick well. It's a handful for Stewart.
Melbourne's Nathan Jones would kick the final goal, but it was mere consolation as Port Adelaide ran out 28-point winners. David Murdoch, Big Pond Sport. While most have written off the Saints' chances of playing finals footy, the St Kilda faithful have faith in the math. They simply must win to have any chance of featuring in September. For the D's, it would be all about pride as St Kilda began their march.
Can he open the Saints' account? First goal of the game to Stevie Milne.
After a quad strain forced Frawley's withdrawal for Melbourne during the week, the men he may have matched up on found some freedom.
Revolt now to Kazitsky. Sella with him. Sella got good spot, left it behind. Cozzy just picked his pocket.
But they'd soon be picking up the pieces. The skipper hyperextending his right knee and rushed off for scans. The Saints would lead by 23 at quarter time. And despite Jeremy Howe's regulation specky,
Howe flies! How about that again? We expect it every week.
The Demons would remain goalless until midway through the second term.
Down to Howe for the opening goal of the game for the D's, and they've got it.
With Revolt subbed out, the goals would dry up for the Saints. and Melbourne would hit back through Blees.
D's are leading the quarter. Saints lead the match by 9 points.
But St Kilda would steady with a gift to Wilkes, extending their lead to 16 points at half-time.
Finally, St Kilda get their opening goal of the term.
Melbourne would continue to battle against the odds after the break.
Lyndon Dunn gathers again. Bouncing ball. Has that been touched? I don't think it has.
The D's had lifted their intensity and would draw to within 4 through Blees before the Saints again found the steady hands of Bo Wilkes, along with Stephen Milne, to extend the margin to 3 goals.
Has it been touched? Goal umpire likes it.
In the absence of Nick Riewoldt, Bo Wilkes was now providing a solid target, and the goals followed.
His kick is true, and the Saints have kicked the last 3. They've got some breathing space again.
When Wilkes kicked his 4th, the Saints were out to a 38-point lead, and they'd continue to add to the D's misery.
And to make it 7 in a row for the Saints, Cozzy puts it through, and it's the Saints by 50.
Nick Riewoldt would emerge from the bowels of the MCG to further inspire his team as his sub continued to impress in the final term.
He's kicked 4. He's going back to line up for number 5.
Neville Jetta would end a run of 8 St Kilda goals in a row, but it was to be just a brief respite.
Cripps, he's kicked a goal already from dead in front. He won't miss from there, he doesn't.
There would be some further signs of life from Melbourne.
Blees, can he kick another? Blees steps inside. He's been lively this afternoon. He's got 4.
Brad Green would add another to his tally before the curtain comes down at season's end, as St Kilda clocked off.
Sella kicks another for the D's. 4 in a row to the Demons.
But the Saints doing enough to keep their slim finals hopes alive.
So all smiles from Ahmed Saad.
St Kilda stretching their winning streak over Melbourne to 8 with a 25-point victory. David Murdoch, Big Pond Sport.
Brad Green prepared for his 254th game for Melbourne, his last at the MCG before retirement. James Frawley clocked 100 games as the Demons regained second-year rookie Daniel Nicholson following a jaw injury. Adelaide had lost 17 of the previous 18 games in Victoria, including 6 at the MCG. The Crows aimed to bounce back from the shock loss to Brisbane last week and called Jason Porplyzia, Brodie Smith and Aidan Riley into the lineup in Kurt Tippett's 100th game. Green arrived on cue in the goal square and promptly opened the major scoring on his big day.
Standing ovation behind the goals for Brad Green.
What a mighty roar too around the MCG. That's goal number 349.
Taylor Walker responded for the Crows before Graham Johncock did the spade work a minute later and Richard Douglas picked up the pieces.
Fremantle were playing to win by any margin against the Melbourne Demons at Patterson Stadium, and they were pushing hard early. Pavlich setting up Mzungu.
For Fremantle, second in a row. Soon as he hit it, he celebrated. 2 to the Dockers.
Freo claimed the first 2, while the D's desperately needed to show their supporters reason for hope for next season.
Nathan Jones, how's that for a goal? He's had a big year, Nathan Jones, and that's a big goal.
Melbourne hung in, but there was no chance when Aaron Sandilands loomed large up forward.
And he heads to the big man in Sandilands, who's got the height advantage on McDonald.
The big man made no mistake.
Sandilands for his 5th goal of the season.
At the first break, the home side led by 14 points. There was a pep talk from Pav, but it didn't have much impact as Jack Fitzpatrick got on the scoreboard.
And they get some reward, the Melbourne Demons.
Messy stuff in Perth, but the Dockers emerged with their first for the term.
Slips it over to Mzungu for his second.
Hayden Ballantyne dropped in to set up his first for the night.
To Ballantyne, he had a quick look and decided, I can take this, I can get on the board.
Pavlich extended the margin and kept his Coleman medal hopes alive. At half-time, the home side were in control, up by 32 points, and within seconds they extended the margin through Mundy.
Mundy's kicking's been very good tonight, and it's very good there.
The interest was in Pavlich, though, in the race for the Coleman.
Pavlich for his second. Oh, beautiful kick. He wanted it and he got it.
His second, putting level at the top on 62 goals with Tom Hawkins. Ballantyne was in a race, sprinting away for his second.
Away goes Ballantyne. He loves this situation. Come and catch me. I don't think you can. Go, Ballantyne.
All running smoothly until Luke McFarlane struck trouble. A hamstring on ice. The defender subbed off.
Well, there's an issue for Ross Lyon.
Fremantle weren't slowing down. Walters rose high, but it was Ballantyne waiting to pounce.
Walters! Got up, didn't come down with it. Hayden Ballantyne! What a goal from him. He's got 3. Oh, what a play.
At the final break, Freo were clear by 48 points, but set to be without McFarlane, who had a torn hamstring. Still plenty of feeling in the contest. Luke Tapscott delivered a brutal hip and shoulder to Ibbotson.
Oh, high contact there.
The D's kept piling in, Fitzpatrick showing plenty of promise for next season.
He's got pace for Dawson, and he kicks the goal.
Sandilands was proving a massive headache.
40 metres out. Look at that.
The fans wanted to see Pavlich go ahead in the race for the Coleman, but it was Griffin collecting 2 majors.
There's a big shot at it, and he kicks a goal and drills it home.
Pavlich wasn't phased. He spent time on the bench and finished with 62 goals for the regular season. Fremantle winning by 61 points to set up a finals clash with Geelong. The Dockers getting the job done at home, winning 14-17-101 to 5-10-40. Brett Clancy, Big Pond Sport.